How you doing? It's the Butcher here, and today we're going to be talking Diablo 4 PTR and my thoughts on it. Sorry I couldn't upload this yesterday, the day it came out, but I didn't think I have enough time. I've now played every character except Necromancer, because that's actually the one I'm going to start after this Druid, after playing a little more with this Druid, because I want to spend the most time on that. I'm really interested in several builds with the Necro, but I want to give my initial thoughts first. I've done most of the activities outside basically the Uber bosses, but I've watched some things as well too, and I want to get my thoughts on it. So the thing I want to say first and foremost is I'm just going to play around the Helltide. It's good. It's very, very good. Now, I do have some concerns I'll get to later, but I definitely want to start out with, it's good. The best way I can describe it is everything in the game is now more fun. So, for example, finding items is now more fun with the new item rework. You have the pit, which is more fun than Nightmare Dungeons, in my opinion. You have, I'm trying to think, you have Helltides, which are now more fun. I will say Helltides still, maybe I'm just soured on them. I don't know if anyone else feels this way. I mean, they're much better. You have this meter here that fills up, and then you get an event. There's more events in the map in general. And then you have the same thing as like the Blood Lures from the Vampire event with these right here. I forget what they're called, but you basically pick them up and you can deposit them, and people can sit in a group and basically do it. And there's a boss that comes in the end, and it's just a huge mob density. So they are much better, and they do a lot more stuff does drop, and I believe it drops from other sources too. Not even like throughout the game as well. Oh, this worm's awesome. He shoots out just a giant explosion basically of enemies. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's much better. I wouldn't say I want to spend a ton of time at Helltide, but for the time I do have to spend in there, it's significantly better. So props on that. Second thing I want to talk about is the class changes. So like I said, I've used every class besides Necro. All their class changes do feel pretty good with the new items and stuff like that. However, I will say what could be a problem is that the Dust Devil build for Barb, I actually didn't play that one when I was playing on Barb, but it does look, I mean, you can have people basically help. You won't be able to see anything is the problem. It does look cool though. Or maybe they find a way to just make the individual Dust Devil do more damage instead of spawning more. I don't know. But yeah, the builds seem cool. This Trample Slide isn't working out great, so excuse the horrible gameplay. But like I said, this is like a very fresh character. But yeah, the class changes feel good so far. Outside of, like I said, Necromancer. I think Barb didn't need nerfs. I know people don't like nerfs, but I think it was needed, and Barb is still really good. So it'll be fine. But then let's move on to, I guess, the itemization in general. So everything is much more useful. As you can see, just while I'm playing, I just don't get nearly as much of it. What I do get is usually better. I like the greater affix system. I think that's good. I wish there was a way where it doesn't actually highlight in your inventory. So, like, let me see if I can get a legendary. So it doesn't actually, if that makes sense, when you have them, all your legendaries right here, it doesn't actually light up in your inventory, which is, I think, is a change I want to report, because I want to be able to tell and not accidentally discard it or something like that. The tempering system on this character, I think I've only tempered, like, yeah, I think I only did this, maybe something else, one more thing. But the tempering system overall is good. My one critique of it is that I wish there was a way, and maybe they could introduce this, I don't think there's a huge change. So when you get a recipe, there's 5 different things that could possibly roll in the recipe. There's a lot of times you only specifically want one of them, and the rest of them are pretty useless. So I wish there was a way where you could potentially, what's it called? You could potentially pay more of a certain type of material, whatever it might be, in order to get specifically the one you want. Now that won't make it a max roll or anything like that. It will still roll in that range. But for this, we actually don't have a max tempering cap, but in the full build of the game, we will. So it's really easy to brick items. It's going to be really easy to brick items. So I would like to see that, personally. I know there has to be like some RNG involved, or else you could just choose like max rolls, so that wouldn't make much sense. But either way, in my opinion, I think the tempering change is very good. I think it brings a lot more complexity and depth to the itemization, allows for a lot more customization. Some of them are pretty crazy on there, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, the ability, like, the ones that are, like, offensive, I believe is what they're called. So they have like these abilities to just completely basically change skills or add like huge damage numbers. I'm talking like in the hundreds of times, and mostly additive, but still, like that is absolutely massive. As you can see, after I filled up that bar, I got like a ton of enemies that came at me. But yeah, it feels good for the most part. I think it's going to be a good change, a welcome change by people. The masterworking system, again, pretty much same thing. It's a good change. It feels good. Again, the one thing I'd probably like to see is, so right now as you upgrade and masterwork items, you cannot choose what gets the bonus roll. And I guess I don't have as much of a problem with this one, honestly. Just because you can't really brick it because you can do it over again. However, you will have to get a bunch more mats, so that could annoy some people. So I think I still would like to change. But again, so the one that gets the 25% bonus roll every 4 levels, that you are not able to choose again which affix that is. So again, I would think I would like a way where you pay more. Maybe it could be, maybe the roll isn't always 25% or something like that, but a way that you can pay more and mats in order to choose the one you want, maybe, potentially. Although that one I don't have nearly as big of an issue with. I do really like the masterworking system. It's gonna, I think, obviously I haven't had very many items for very long, but I think it's gonna really make your items feel like, you know, your own and something like you're attached to throughout the season. So I think that's a really good change. And then finally we have basically, not finally because there's a couple more things, but we have the pit as well too. So the pit, in my opinion, is a much better option than Nightmare Dungeons. I enjoy them. I think they're pretty fun to run through. I have not gotten like super deep because, like I said, I've been trying out the different characters, seeing how they feel. That's kind of been the way I'm starting it. And I'll definitely have a video towards the end of the PTR giving like full breakdowns after I beat the uber bosses and you know, do all 200 levels and whatnot. But the pit is where you go to get your masterworking materials. The easier levels are easy, but it's a lot more fun, I think, specifically because all you're really worried about is killing monsters. There's no BS objectives. You can do it as fast as possible. You're actually rewarded for doing it fast, so that's a good change. It just feels a lot better. But this is also where my concerns start to creep in. So you do get mats. You will get mats to summon the uber bosses, things like that. I don't really want to mess with that guy. However, my concern is that the pit, as far as we know, I should say, the pit is like our only new kind of thing coming. So my question is, and I've seen people play the uber bosses and they don't look overly hard. So my question is that just gonna keep people on just grinding the pit over and over again? Because you get the materials from the pit and then you use them to just keep doing the pit and to do I guess the bosses. And then once you do the bosses, kind of what do you do? Doesn't feel like a highly sustainable gameplay loop. And I guess this is the thing, is this is basically like the 1.0 version, kind of, because it's like an entire rework. So instead of Nightmare Dungeons, you have basically the pit is kind of like your similar activity. Now Nightmare Dungeons is still there to level up sigils and things like that. However, they're pretty useless, honestly. So I don't know. I don't know what to do particularly. They definitely needed this rework, and if it's gonna, I guess, push some content back for a little bit, then so be it. But I am concerned with that. I think rightfully so, because yes, the pit is good. I think it's an improvement on, you know, previous things they've had in the game and whatnot, and I've had fun with it. But I don't know if it's a sustainable endgame system, I guess, is my biggest concern. So we'll have to see. Again, you know, we don't know what's fully in store. This isn't the full season right here. Could be some crazy stuff with the seasonal mechanic and whatnot. But that's definitely a concern I have, is since they are starting from ground zero, basically, that they're not really adding on any endgame system. They're just changing what the endgame system is. And we might get in the same situation, albeit with a much better base, but where we're just lacking stuff to do. So overall, though, I mean, that's pretty much everything for the PTR. I think, as I said, I'm going to give a full review after it's finished. But my feelings on it are very good so far. I enjoy it. I think it's everything in the game is more fun, in my opinion, than it was previously. Now, I am a little concerned with the staying power. Like I said, is really my main concern. and we won't know how that will play out, obviously, until we probably get our hands on the full thing, realistically. But like I said, everything in the game is more fun. I do like it. This is probably the most fun I've had playing Diablo since, I'll say Season 2, I guess. Season 2 was fun. But I think the game at a base level is in the best state it's ever been during this PTR. So I think it's good. I'm very pleased with this. I don't think we could have asked for much more. I think what we wanted, they nailed for the most part. They're still working out some kinks. And again, we're going to be able to provide feedback. Hopefully there are changes from this, because I definitely do think there are things that could use changing. But that's something we'll obviously have to see moving forward. So it's been The Butcher. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.